There's a photo of Michael Collins. It shows him in deep space, and they use it as a press release saying that he was on a spacewalk.
And it was quiet, silent, utterly. Was good, not bad. It gave me a little time off from mission control telling me.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The past decade witnessed incredible space missions, like NASA's Parker probe capturing the sun's outer halo and New Horizons photographing detailed images of Pluto and its moons. Inclusive endeavors, such as the Artemis mission, aim to land the first woman on the moon. These successes, however, cannot overshadow the historic achievements of astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the Apollo 11 mission. Recently, Joe Rogan unveiled unsettling truths about Michael Collins, the third Apollo 11 astronaut, and his encounters on the far side of the moon. What terrifying discovery did Collins make on the moon, and why did NASA choose to keep this information classified? Join us as we uncover the spooky secret revealed by an Apollo 11 astronaut. On February 22nd, a mysterious rectangular prism from Earth made its way to the inhospitable surface of the moon. This was a remarkable feat in space exploration, as it was the first private spacecraft to land successfully on the moon. The moon has always captivated our attention, leading to numerous attempts at exploring the rugged surface of the moon. Many of these lunar missions have been unsuccessful, leading many to wonder if the historic Apollo moon landing was an elaborate hoax. While space enthusiasts can appreciate the curiosity surrounding the authenticity of the Apollo moon landing, it is perplexing to consider that faking the moon landing would have been more convenient than an actual manned mission to the moon. These enduring conspiracy theories have persisted for decades, with minimal evidence. However, there is an even more significant matter at hand. Recently, the third astronaut of the Apollo mission, Michael Collins, has come forward with alarming information about the mission, including encounters and undisclosed details that NASA has kept confidential. Joe Rogan, renowned host of The Joe Rogan Experience and a long-standing enthusiast of space exploration, has recently shed light on various intriguing aspects of the Apollo mission. While maintaining that the mission itself was not falsified, Rogan has brought attention to a number of suspicious incidents that transpired on the moon, which have remained undisclosed to the general public. Keep watching as we delve into the intriguing revelations made by both Joe Rogan and the Apollo 11 astronaut regarding a mysterious secret about the mission to the far side of the moon. But first, let's provide some important context. The moon has fascinated people for centuries with its breathtaking beauty and puzzling nature. Even before we had advanced telescopes and observatories, our ancestors were captivated by this celestial marvel. They diligently observed how it controlled the tides and had an impact on our calendars. Some myths even attempted to explain how it affected our health and overall well-being. As technology advanced, we launched unmanned probes like the Soviet lunar missions and the American Ranger and Surveyor programs to orbit the moon. These missions provided valuable insights into the moon's conditions and geology, and with each new discovery, our desire to send humans there grew stronger. The space race between the United States and the USSR during the Cold War further fueled this ambition, as it became a matter of national pride and technological superiority. In 1961, the United States embarked on the audacious Apollo mission. The goal was nothing short of landing a man on the moon and bringing him back safely before the decade's end. It was an enormous undertaking that required substantial funding. The Apollo program involved multiple stages of development and testing. They conducted suborbital and orbital flights, practiced rendezvous and docking maneuvers, simulated lunar orbits and landings, and even practiced extravehicular activities. They left no stone unturned in their thorough preparations. Finally, on July 16, 1969, the world held its breath as the Apollo mission took flight. On July 20th, the entire planet watched in awe as the lunar module Eagle gently descended onto the moon's surface. The three brave astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, had successfully reached lunar orbit. Armstrong and Aldrin bid farewell to Collins, who remained behind to pilot the command module. Then, at precisely 2:56 a.m. GMT, Armstrong took humanity's first steps on the moon, etching his name forever in history. Aldrin followed closely behind, and together they spent 2 hours collecting samples and conducting scientific experiments. After their remarkable activities, they planted the American flag on the moon, symbolizing the triumph of their mission. With their tasks complete, they rejoined Collins in the main shuttle and began their journey back to Earth. On July 24, 1969, the trio splashed into the Pacific Ocean, marking the successful completion of their historic mission. Their return was met with exuberant celebration as they embodied the daring and determination of the human race. These courageous astronauts had achieved what was once deemed impossible, fulfilling centuries-old dreams and paving the way for future space exploration. From a scientific standpoint, the Apollo missions brought back incredibly valuable lunar samples. The astronauts managed to gather around 382 kilograms, 842 pounds, of moon rocks and soil throughout their missions. These samples provided us with indispensable insights into the moon's geology, composition, and history. They confirmed the hypothesis that the moon was formed through the colossal collision of a Mars-sized object with Earth billions of years ago. Through the examination of these moon rocks, scientists made the noteworthy discovery that the moon's surface is predominantly made up of basalt, a type of volcanic rock. The samples also unveiled the existence of anorthosite, a light-colored rock rich in aluminum and calcium, indicating differentiation processes in the moon's early days. By dating the moon rocks, scientists estimated their age to be approximately 4.5 billion years, furnishing crucial information regarding the moon's formation and the early stages of our solar system. The Apollo missions also conducted various experiments and observations on the moon's surface. Astronauts installed seismometers to measure moonquakes and gathered data on lunar seismic activity. These measurements aided scientists in comprehending the moon's internal structure and provided insights into how mass is distributed within the moon. Furthermore, the Apollo missions deployed retroreflectors on the moon's surface, which to this day continue to offer precise measurements of the Earth-Moon distance. By reflecting laser beams off these retroreflectors, scientists can accurately calculate the moon's orbit and observe its subtle changes over time. Another remarkable achievement of the Apollo mission was the establishment of scientific experiments and instruments on the moon's surface. For instance, during Apollo 14, the astronauts set up the Apollo Lunar Surface Experiments Package, ALSEP, which included instruments designed to measure solar wind, seismic activity, and heat flow. These experiments operated for an extended period, providing valuable data on the moon's environment and aiding scientists in developing a deeper understanding of its geophysical processes. The missions also significantly contributed to our knowledge of the moon's volcanic history. Astronauts observed numerous volcanic features such as lava channels, rills, and volcanic cones. Additionally, they stumbled upon volcanic glass beads known as orange soil, which served as evidence of explosive volcanic eruptions that occurred on the moon in the past. The Apollo program had a profound impact that extended well beyond scientific discoveries. It showcased the power of human determination, technological innovation, and international collaboration. The missions ignited the imaginations of countless scientists, engineers, and explorers and paved the way for subsequent endeavors in space exploration. However, there were many undisclosed aspects of the Apollo 11 mission that remained hidden from the public, even as it unfolded in real time. Now, To understand why Michael Collins felt the need to come clean after several years, we have to take a deeper dive into the moon to understand the historic Apollo mission. What really is the moon, and where is it from? The mystery behind the moon's origin has stirred up quite a debate among scientists. They've been grappling with various theories in an attempt to shed light on this captivating celestial puzzle. One hypothesis, known as the capture theory, suggests that the moon was initially adrift in space and by chance was pulled into Earth's orbit. However, this theory faces significant challenges due to the highly unlikely odds of such an event occurring. Another explanation, the accretion theory, proposes that both the moon and Earth were formed from dust clouds in the early solar system. Planets and moons formed through accretion usually share similar characteristics. However, the moon deviates from this norm as it lacks certain traits, such as an iron core and an Earth-like axis of rotation. The fission hypothesis gained some popularity, suggesting that the early Earth was spinning at an incredibly high speed, causing a chunk of its rocky surface to be ejected into space and eventually forming the moon. However, this theory was debunked when scientists discovered that moon rocks are much older than the Earth's oceanic crust, making it unlikely that the moon originated from the depths of the Pacific Ocean. Presently, the most widely accepted explanation is the giant impact theory. According to this theory, around 4.5 billion years ago, a colossal object, roughly the size of Mars, collided with the early Earth. The tremendous impact created a debris field that eventually came together to form the Earth-Moon system. Although the conditions necessary for this theory to hold true may seem astronomically improbable, it is currently the most plausible explanation we have. More recently, a combination of these theories has been proposed. This new hypothesis suggests that a large object collided with Earth, causing it to vaporize. The vaporized material, known as a synestia, rapidly spun and formed a torus. In this scenario, the moon is believed to have formed on the edge of this torus. This theory endeavors to reconcile the various aspects of previous hypotheses and provide a more comprehensive explanation for the moon's origin. It's important to note that our understanding of celestial bodies is constantly evolving as new evidence and insights emerge. Prior to the Apollo mission, we had no concrete understanding of what the moon truly was, where it came from, or even where it might be headed. Michael Collins, during the moon landing, had no frame of reference for this. Now, let's delve into the mission. What actually happened? On the legendary Apollo 11 mission. During the historic Apollo 11 mission, NASA astronauts encountered a formidable challenge upon touchdown on the moon. 2 modules of the automatic control system malfunctioned, and there were issues with the radio communication. As a result, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin had to handle the situation on their own. Despite these setbacks, their exceptional skills allowed the Eagle landing module to safely touch down on the moon. The audience watching on television had no idea about these difficulties. Officially, everything went smoothly, and Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were filled with excitement after the successful landing. They were so thrilled that they decided to skip their scheduled rest period before venturing out onto the moon's surface. NASA made secret changes to the plan to give the impression that the moon landing had gone perfectly. However, it took many years for the public to learn about the concealed facts, and NASA faced significant criticism for trying to present a flawless image. In the years following this historic moon landing, more information gradually emerged. There were claims that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin had encountered large spacecraft on the moon. However, these radio messages were never made public. Witnesses, who had worked at NASA in 1969, came forward and claimed to have personally heard these communications. Throughout their lives, Armstrong and Aldrin denied seeing anything unusual or encountering aliens on the moon. Nevertheless, These cover-ups and deception led some people to question the authenticity of the entire moon landing. Some even started considering the possibility of extraterrestrial bases on the moon and secret agreements with aliens. Dr. Ken Johnston Sanar, who played a significant role in this context, worked as a civilian astronaut consultant pilot with NASA during the Apollo landings. He also worked with the Grumman Corporation, the manufacturer of the lunar module used by Armstrong and Aldrin. During his time at NASA, Johnston witnessed remarkable events that compelled him to speak out after retiring. His revelations were truly astonishing. Among other things, Johnston claimed that he had access to a vast collection of photos and data that showed anomalies and unusual structures on the moon. According to Johnston, these images provided clear evidence of artificial constructs on the lunar surface. Some even speculated that these images proved the presence or activity of extraterrestrials on the moon. Furthermore, Johnston witnessed how NASA intentionally withheld these images and information, manipulating the photos released to the public to hide these anomalies. In a bold move, Johnston managed to save some of the original photos and negatives that were going to be destroyed, preserving them for future generations. However, Johnston's disclosures went beyond the existence of artificial structures. He spoke about secret space programs and alleged agreements between the U.S. government and extraterrestrial races. One such agreement, often referred to as the Edwards Agreement for the Preservation of Humanity, supposedly took place on February 20, 1954, between President Dwight Eisenhower and a race known as the Greys. Some sources even claim that the U.S. president at the time allowed the Greys to regularly abduct and examine individuals under the condition that they would be safely returned with their memories erased. Countless reports from around the world have described a recurring phenomenon involving alleged abductions carried out by small gray aliens aboard their spacecraft. These encounters have left many victims deeply traumatized, struggling to find belief and support from others. These reports suggest that the Greys, as they are commonly referred to, do not always abide by the terms of an alleged agreement, or that certain individuals may possess immunity to memory erasure. According to these accounts, former U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower is said to have played a role in this scenario, sharing advanced technology with extraterrestrial beings and allowing two of their ambassadors, known as Krill and J-Rod, to establish a permanent presence on Earth. Krill is described as a reptilian creature hailing from the Dragon constellation, while J-Rod is purportedly a gray alien originating from Zeta Reticuli. Following his tenure at NASA, Dr. Ken Johnston Sanar delved into the study of parascience and pre-astronautics, driven by his personal experiences and the extensive information he had encountered. Like many others, he discovered intriguing connections between Sumerian writings, the foundation of ancient Egyptian civilization, and the rumored involvement of extraterrestrial entities. Johnston came to believe that these various pieces of evidence formed a cohesive narrative, suggesting the possibility of ancient civilizations or extraterrestrial beings inhabiting the moon. Another incident that fueled speculation was the alleged crash of a UFO in Roswell in 1947. Numerous witnesses claimed to have witnessed a spaceship and encountered a gray alien. Leveraging his connections and opportunities, Johnston devoted his efforts to investigating this phenomenon as well. His research led him to the conclusion that the Roswell incident marked the commencement of communication between the U.S. government and the Greys, eventually culminating in a mysterious treaty in 1954. It has been rumored that President Eisenhower, during a clandestine visit to Edwards Air Force Base, held a meeting with the Greys. Official accounts state that his visit was necessitated by emergency dental treatment while vacationing in Palm Springs, California. Nevertheless, internal reports allegedly originating from NASA and the U.S. military have indicated that contact with the Greys had significant psychological repercussions on many soldiers present at the meeting. These extraterrestrial entities appeared to have a profoundly negative impact on humans, leading to conditions such as depression, anxiety, and even severe behavioral problems that tragically resulted in suicides in some cases. William Cooper, a former naval intelligence officer turned whistleblower, has shared testimonies that include references to two distinct alien races, the benevolent Nordics and the cunning Greys. According to Cooper, the Nordics played a role in negotiating a non-aggression pact between humanity and the Greys, which supposedly permitted the latter to conduct regular abductions for medical purposes. Needless to say, these theories and claims remain highly contentious, and no official statements have been issued by NASA or the U.S. government. Any attempts to verify or comment on these allegations are typically met with denials. What did Michael Collins find in his time on the moon? Could the moon be a hollow alien spaceship? Joe Rogan has long been captivated by the often overlooked hero of the Apollo 11 mission, Michael Collins, and his significant contribution to the mission's success. Rogan has expressed admiration for Collins, emphasizing that his role went beyond the technical responsibilities he carried out. As the primary communication link between the crew and mission control, Collins ensured the prompt transmission of photographs and lunar observations back to Earth in real time. These observations provided valuable insights into the moon's composition. However, Collins had a unique responsibility that set him apart from his fellow astronauts. As the intermediary between the crew on the moon and mission control on Earth, he understood that if anything were to go wrong during the mission, he would be solely responsible for returning to Earth. Despite not being able to explore the moon's surface like his colleagues, Collins remained composed and focused, carrying out his duties with remarkable composure. His unwavering dedication ensured that mission control received timely and consistent information, leading to the successful completion of the Apollo 11 mission. Collins also played a vital role in the Trans-Earth Injection, TEI, a critical maneuver that involved firing the spacecraft's engines to leave lunar orbit and set a course back to Earth. His technical skills and precision were essential for the successful execution of this maneuvers. In many ways, Collins served as the backbone of the entire mission, embodying the spirit of teamwork and camaraderie. Despite being physically separated from his crew and assuming a more behind-the-scenes role, Collins exemplified the collaborative and collective effort that defined the Apollo 11 mission from start to finish. During his time orbiting the moon while his crew members descended to the surface, Collins experienced moments of solitude aboard the command module. Spending a total of 21 hours in lunar orbit, with 48 minutes of each orbit in radio silence, he had ample time for introspection and contemplation. Cut off from his colleagues on the moon's surface and devoid of messages from mission control, Collins floated in the dark, airless void. This unique experience made him the loneliest man in history during those orbits around the far side of the moon. Surprisingly, Collins didn't perceive this solitude as stark loneliness, but rather as a serene and introspective experience. The far side of the moon's radio blocking effects meant that he was completely disconnected from Earth, unable to communicate with his colleagues or mission control. It was during these moments that Collins became the first person to catch a glimpse of the far side completely alone, even though he didn't set foot on it. It was at this time he made intriguing discoveries that changed his perception of the moon. The rocks and soil samples he unearthed exhibited peculiar qualities that diverged from what we typically observe on Earth. On our planet, the freshest rocks are usually found at the surface, while older rocks lie buried deeper. However, on the moon, this sequence is inverted. The surface soil is actually older than the rocks beneath it, and the surface rocks are older than those beneath them. This reversal challenges our understanding of geological processes as we usually bring older material to the surface through drilling, excavation, and mining on Earth. It suggests the presence of unconventional geological forces at play on the Moon. Additionally, the Moon showcases other anomalies that defy the norms of typical planetary structures. On Earth, denser materials tend to be concentrated towards the core, with lighter materials closer to the surface. Yet on the Moon, this pattern is reversed. The unexpected reversal of material density raises questions about the Moon's formation and its geological history. Another captivating aspect of the Moon is its pockmarked surface, adorned with scars from countless asteroid impacts that have occurred over billions of years. One might anticipate the rocks surrounding these impact craters to exhibit varying ages. However, there is a surprising uniformity in the age of these rocks. This uniformity is puzzling because it implies a consistent pattern of geological activity that has maintained a similar chemical composition across the Moon's surface for an extended period. The chemical makeup of lunar dust is also peculiar. If lunar dust were solely a result of billions of years of impacts, we would expect its chemical composition to match that of the surrounding rocks. However, lunar dust possesses a distinct chemical makeup compared to the rocks nearby, further adding to the enigmatic nature of the Moon. Furthermore, while the Moon lacks a magnetic field, Moon rocks were found to possess strong magnetization. This stands in stark contrast to Earth, where the presence of a magnetic field contributes to the magnetization of rocks. The existence of magnetized Moon rocks raises questions about the Moon's geological processes and its magnetic history. Moreover, the age of the Moon itself is a subject of interest. While the Earth is estimated to be around 4.6 billion years old, the Moon's rocks have been dated to be even older. Some lunar rocks have been traced back to the very beginning of the solar system, making them incredibly ancient. This disparity in ages between Earth and Moon rocks suggests that the Moon's formation and history are distinct from those of our planet. Additionally, the Moon boasts an abundance of certain elements that are considered rare on Earth, such as titanium, chromium, and zirconium. The presence of these metals in significant quantities on the Moon is intriguing, particularly considering their strength and resistance to corrosion. These metals are ideal for reinforcing structures, thereby raising the possibility that the Moon's surface may be fortified by a resilient metallic shell. This hypothesis could potentially explain why Moon craters, regardless of their size, exhibit a consistent depth. To test the hypothesis of a hollow moon, scientists conducted experiments during the Apollo missions. The lunar lander of Apollo 12 deliberately crashed into the Moon's surface, resulting in unexpected seismic measurements. The Moon displayed an extended reverberation, resonating like a bell for over an hour. Subsequently, during Apollo 13, an even heavier object intentionally collided with the Moon, leading to reverberations that lasted over 3 hours and reached a depth of 20 miles. These prolonged reverberations and the behavior of vibrations at various depths suggest that the Moon's interior may be less dense and potentially harbor substantial hollow cavities. The Moon's density itself poses a challenge to our understanding. Despite being approximately 1/4 the size of Earth, the Moon's density is only about 1% of Earth's density. If the Moon were indeed a hollow shell, this would provide an explanation for its unusually low density. In addition to these physical characteristics, the Moon's orbital dynamics present further enigmas. It is the only celestial object observed with a near-perfectly circular orbit. This unique orbit, combined with the Moon's size and distance from Earth, results in it appearing nearly the same size as the Sun during eclipses. The alignment enabling such precise eclipses is a remarkable coincidence that is yet to be fully elucidated. Considering the accumulation of these peculiarities and coincidences associated with the Moon, it is understandable why some, including Michael Collins, entertain the idea that the moon may transcend being merely a natural satellite. The possibility that the moon could be an alien spacecraft, somehow positioned near our planet, is a captivating concept. Although this notion remains speculative and lacks tangible evidence, it underscores the need for open-mindedness and further scientific exploration to unravel the mysteries of our celestial neighbor. Thanks for watching another episode of Beyond Discovery. While you're still here, click on the other videos you see on your screen right now.